The first pose we're going to learn for week 2's yoga tutorial is Trikonasana, or triangle pose. This pose is typically done right after the warrior sequence of Sun Salutation B, following Warrior 1, Warrior 2, Reverse Warrior. Triangle pose allows you to open up and infuse life through your whole body, working out any kinks or compressions. It allows you to be expansive in your body. So from Warrior 2, after Reverse Warrior, straighten your front leg. Track it in line with your hip. With straight legs, press your left thigh back and reach towards the front wall with your right hand. Bring your torso over your front thigh. Reach down and grab your left shin, ankle, or the floor, whichever is best for you. Then float your left arm up to the sky. Gaze high at your upper hand and take 5 deep breaths. While you're here, think about your alignment. Keep your heels in one line. Maintain strong, active legs. Spiral your inner thighs outward, away from each other. Scoop your tailbone down and under. Pull your tail in and pull your belly in so you're on one plane. Imagine being stuck between 2 panes of glass here. Stack your right hand over your right shoulder. Lengthen your spine. Draw your scapula down and keep your upper hand active. For modification, you can place your hand on your shin just below your kneecap. If you feel any strain in your neck, bring your chin to your lower shoulder. After 5 breaths here in triangle pose, inhale and let your raised arm pull you back up to standing. Really use your core strength here. Bend your front knee back to Warrior 2. Windmill your hands down to the mat and step back to high push-up. Go through the rest of your Sun Salutation B again, ending in Warrior 1. So go from high to low push-up, low cobra to upward facing dog, back to downward facing dog. Step forward with your left leg. Repeat Warrior 1. Open to Warrior 2. Reverse your warrior. Take a deep breath in, and then take triangle pose with your left leg forward. Take 5 deep breaths again. Inhale and let your raised arm pull you back up with your core. Bend your front knee to Warrior 2. Cartwheel your hands back down to the mat. Flow through your Vinyasa A, high to low push-up, low cobra or upward facing dog, and then back and downward facing dog. The next pose we're going to learn is side plank. Side plank is a dynamic pose that helps build tremendous purifying heat. It tones and strengthens your arms and torso and trains all the muscles in your body to work as one integrated force. From downward facing dog, move your torso forward and drop your hips down, coming into a high push-up position. Bring your feet together so that your inner ankles and thighs are touching. Spin your heels to the right, coming onto the outer edge of your right foot. Float your left arm up to the sky and gaze over the thumbnail of your upper hand. You could modify this if you want by dropping your lower knee to the floor directly underneath your hip, then spin your upper foot flat so that the top of your foot presses into the floor. In this variation, your right hand, knee, and back foot should all be in one line. While you're here, consider your alignment. Stack your upper hip directly over the lower one. Keep your heels, hips, and heart all in one line. Draw your tailbone towards your heels. Lift your hips high. Align your upper arm above your lower arm, stacking all the joints in one plane. Drop your shoulder blades down your back, away from your ears, and open your chest. After your 5 breaths here, roll open a little bit more and come to a high plank push-up position, and then go through Vinyasa A until you come to downward facing dog. So that's high to low push-up, low cobra or upward facing dog, and back to downward facing dog. The next pose we're going to learn is Crescent Lunge. Crescent Lunge is another dynamic full body pose that integrates all your muscles. It creates flexible strength and stability in the lower body and a beautiful length through the upper body. From Downward Facing Dog, look forward and step your right foot towards your right hand, bending your front knee to 90 degrees. Leave your back heel up so that you're standing on the ball of your back foot. Tug your tailbone under. Inhale and sweep your arms up overhead with your palms facing each other. Exhale and bring your arms down, holding your hands together in a prayer-like position at your chest with your palms pressing together. Fuse your gaze to a point in front of you. A modification to reduce the intensity of this movement is to drop your back knee down to the floor, and if you need to, you can double up your mat or put a blanket or cushion underneath your knee. For your alignment in this crescent lunge, make sure that you place both feet forward and press through the balls of your feet. You should have about 4 inches between your feet, because if your feet are in one line, you will have trouble balancing. Pull your right hip back and your left hip forward, squaring your hips so that they face the wall in front of you. Maintain a strong, straight, and very active back leg. Lift your back knee and quadriceps towards the ceiling. Stack your front knee over your ankle and keep it moving outward towards the baby toe. Contract your abdomen to stabilize your core. Soften your front ribs down towards your belly. Reach up through the crown of your head to create upper body length. After 5 breaths here, lower your hands to the floor on either side of your foot, step your foot back, coming to a high push-up, and go through your Vinyasa A. High to low push-up, low cobra or upward facing dog, and back to downward facing dog. From here, we'll come to high push-up and repeat on the other side. Left side, side plank. Holding it here, again, consider the alignment, keeping your heels, hips, and heart all in one line. Draw your tailbone down. Stack your upper hip directly over the lower one. Lift your hips high and align your arms so that the joints are all along one plane. Drop your shoulder blades down your back, away from your ears, and open your chest. From here, roll open just slightly more on your inhale, and on your exhale, come back to a high push-up and flow through your Vinyasa A, high to low push-up, low cobra or upward facing dog, and then back to downward facing dog. From here, look towards your hands and step your left foot forward, bending your knee at 90 degrees, coming to crescent lunge on the left side. Continue to sit here for a few more breaths. And take one more inhale. As you exhale, lower your hands to the floor on either side of your front foot. Step your front foot back to high push-up and flow through Vinyasa A until we come to a fold. High to low push-up, low cobra or upward facing dog, back to downward facing dog. On your next inhale, press your thighs back, look forward, and bend your knees. Move towards your hands with a hop or a walk forward. Inhale, come to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Hold it here while I explain what we'll be doing next. We're going to be taking prayer twist. Prayer twist is a powerful way to detoxify the organs and glands of the mid-body. So from a standing forward bend, take Thunderbolt. Lower the hips, bend the knees, reach the arms up. Reach up through your hands, and as you exhale, bring them down into prayer-like position at your heart. Inhale here. As you exhale, spin your left elbow to the outside of your right thigh. Keep your feet together and dip your hips low. Press your butt back and your chest plate forward, lengthening your spine. Now straighten your arms, setting your lower hand into a claw on the outside of your right foot and your right arm straight up to the sky. Bring your lower shoulder blade forward and your upper shoulder blade back. Gaze to your upper hand and breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can take a break if you wish. Your alignment here is to keep your feet together. Maintain strong legs. Keep your knees level together. Squeeze your sitting bones and inner thighs in towards each other. Press your hips and tail back and pull your chest forward. You want to twist from your torso, not your arms. And stack your upper hand directly above your shoulder. From here, once you've done your 5 breaths, relax forward into Ragdoll. Relax for a few breaths, and then bend your knees to come back to Thunderbolt. Bring your hands to Namaste or prayer hands, and taking prayer twist on the other side. We'll hold it here for 5 breaths. From here, take one more inhale, and exhale, relax forward into Ragdoll once again. Take a few breaths here in Ragdoll. Then slowly roll up, one vertebrae at a time, to Samasthiti. We'll flow through one final vinyasa. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up. Exhale through fold. Inhale, halfway left. Exhale, place your hands on the mat and flow through your vinyasa. High to low push-up, low cobra or upward facing dog, and back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, lower your knees to the mat in preparation for the next pose. Camel. Camel pose, or Ustrasana, is the reverse position of sitting. It is a back-bending pose that helps undo all the tightness in the hips, psoas, and some of the rotator muscles, which affect the entire body's ability to move. Camel pose also opens the heart center, and for many students, this promotes a powerful healing release of emotions. So from your knees, make sure that you walk 2/3 of the way up your mat. You may want to double up your mat underneath your knees for a little extra padding, or kneel on a folded blanket or towel. Stand up on your knees. Separate your knees and hips and feet to hip distance. Bring your hands to your lower back with your fingers pointing up, thumbs into your sacrum. If this is too intense, you can place your hands in as if they were in pockets in your back. Wrap your elbows towards each other. Scoop your tailbone underneath. And it's very important that you do this first to protect your low back. Exhale your chest up and gently release your head back as a natural expression of a full back bend. If this feels comfortable, reach back and set a hand on each heel, one at a time, cupping your heels with your thumbs to the outside of your ankles. If not, you can just keep your hands where they are. Soften your face and let your eyes gaze on the spot behind you. Hold this for 5 breaths. A modification: if this feels too intense on your lower back, you can curl your toes underneath and stand on the balls of your feet. I like to start my camel pose with a modification and lower my feet if I feel comfortable doing so. For the alignment here, you want to root the shins, ankles, and feet into the floor. Scoop your tailbone under and pull the front of your pelvis upward. Engage your abdominal lock. Engage your lower body, making it very strong. Press your hips forward until the thighs are vertical. Lift your chest up high to the sky as you press down in your lower body. Drop your shoulder blades down your back. After your 5 breaths, tuck your chin to your chest, squeeze your lower body, and root down from that leg strength. Slowly float back up so you're standing on your shins again. Come to downward dog for 5 breaths, and then repeat camel for a second time. To your second camel, come back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, slowly come back to your hands and knees. Cross your feet behind you. Roll over your ankles to lie down on your back. Here we'll prepare for bridge pose. Bridge pose continues the back bending release, opening the chest and strengthening the abdominal wall. It also prepares the soil of our bodies for wheel. So from your back, place your feet flat on the floor at hip width. Your knees should be over your heels, not your toes. Tilt your pelvis and scoop your tailbone underneath. Inhale as you lift your hips high, coming onto your shoulders. Lock your shoulder blades in towards each other, underneath your torso, and clasp your hands together if available, interlacing your fingers. Press down through your feet and upper arms as you lift your hips high. Set your eyes on the tip of your nose. If it's hard for you to lift your hips high, just do what you can. Work to your capacity, even if that means coming up to only a few inches. And if you can't clasp your hands, you can reach for your forearms or elbows, or just leave your hands pressed on the mat, palms facing down. Your alignment here to keep your feet at hip width apart and parallel or slightly splayed for more comfort in your knees. Stack your knees over your ankles. Do not let them splay out to the sides. Spin your inner thighs downward towards the floor. Press down through the soles of your feet and lift your hips high. On the in-breath, expand your rib cage, and on the out-breath, drive the feet and upper arms down and the hips higher. After 5 breaths, release your hands if they're clasped and lower your hips to your mat. Take 2 deep breaths here. Just slide, relax while I explain the next pose, wheel pose. It's slightly more complex. Wheel is one of the most powerful poses in the yoga practice. It unfolds the entire front side of the body while strengthening and conditioning the entire back side. This is one of the best poses to open and release tension in the upper back, chest, shoulders, and hip flexors, as well as the lower back. It also opens the heart center and can create tremendous emotional release. Please first watch the demonstration before trying this on your own. Lying on your back with your knees up, feet flat on the floor at hip width. Place your hands flat next to your ears with the palms down and your fingertips facing towards your shoulders. Draw your elbows in so they're in alignment with your shoulder joints, and drop your shoulders downward towards your buttocks. Exhale and scoop your tail under. Inhale and press down through the soles of your feet and hands, coming onto the crown of your head. If this is as far as you can go, stay here, taking care to put your body weight into your hands and arms rather than your neck. If you feel you can straighten your arms and come up, move on to step 2. So from here, draw your elbows in so they're in alignment with your shoulder once again. Slide your shoulder blades down your back, and it's very important that you do this before coming up to prevent any shoulder damage. Exhale here for 1 breath. On the inhalation, press down through the soles of your feet and hands and straighten your arms, launching up into a beautiful back bend. Let your head hang heavy and your neck be free. Relax your face and gaze to a spot on the wall behind you. When you're ready to come down, tuck your chin underneath slowly. Lower yourself down from the top of your spine to the bottom of your hips. Don't draw your knees into your chest right away. This will shock your sacrum. Keep the soles of your feet on the mat and your hips down. Rest here for 3 to 5 breaths, and then come up to a seated position in preparation for the next pose. Before we move on, let's do this one more time, and you're free to join us if you wish. So lying on your back with your knees up, feet flat on the mat. Place your hands next to your ears with the palms facing down and your fingertips facing towards your shoulders. Draw your elbows in so they're in alignment with your shoulder joints, and drop your shoulders down towards your buttocks. Exhale and scoop your tailbone under. Inhale and press through the soles of your feet and hands, coming up to the crown of your head. Again, you can stay here if you wish. Just make sure that your weight is in your arms and hands and feet rather than your neck. If you would like to continue, once again, make sure that your elbows are drawn in so that they're in alignment with your shoulder joints, and slide your shoulder blades down your back. Exhale here, and on the inhalation, press through the soles of your feet and hands and straighten your arms, launching up into your beautiful back bend. Let your head hang heavy and your neck be free. Relax your face and gaze to a spot on the wall behind you. Your alignment cues here are to make sure your feet are parallel or slightly splayed. Root your forelimbs down and press your hips up. Spin your inner thighs downward towards the floor, shifting more weight onto your legs. Allow the whole front of your body to flower open. Use the power of your breath to hold you up for the count of 5. After your 5th breath, tuck your chin underneath. Slowly lower yourself down from the top of your spine to the bottom, and then your hips. Again, don't draw your knees into your chest right away. We want to not shock our sacrum. Keep the soles of your feet on the mat and your hips down. Rest here for 3 to 5 breaths. And now let's meet in a seated position in preparation for the next pose, Easy Boat Pose. We've already practiced boat pose. Easy boat pose is just simply a supported and modified version of boat pose, which is great to do after wheel. It develops coordination, balance, and structural integrity, and also sculpts the legs and abdominals. To begin, bend your knees and place your feet flat on the floor. Clasp your hands behind your knees, or you can take one hand to one wrist. Lean back and balance on your sitting bones and tail. Straighten your legs as much as you can from this position. For your alignment, make sure that you lift your spine, keep open your chest, fan your toes and feet. Soften the muscles in your face, maybe a hint of smile. After 5 breaths, lower your feet back to the floor, unclasp your hands, and from there, we'll go straight into a regular boat pose. Let's spend just a couple breaths here in boat pose, reminding ourselves that in week 1 we learned the process of, and let's try this, slowly crossing our legs, placing our hands in front of us, and lifting our whole body off the ground if possible. And come back onto your seat. In practice, we will typically have repeated this 5 times, but we're continuing on for the sake of this tutorial. From a seated position, sit with your legs spread wide to each side. Set your hands firmly onto the floor and lift your chest, activating your thighs and feet. You only want about 40% effort here. This is already the next pose, Sitting Splits Pose. Sitting Splits Pose opens the hips, releases and lengthens the inner thighs and hamstrings, and stabilizes and strengthens the lower back. It also serves as preparation modification for the next pose, Bowing Splits. So from the seated position with our legs extended as we have them and spread out wide to each side, just note that your legs don't have to come out to a full split or even be super wide. This can be whatever works for you as long as you can keep your back straight. Spread your hands firmly onto the floor and shoulder width apart. Keep your hands in front of you and lift your chest. Gaze forward for 5 breaths. Activate your thighs and feet. Open your chest. Keep your spine elongated. Maintain fluid and deep breathing. From here, I'll explain Bowing Splits Pose. Bowing Splits Pose conditions the legs and strengthens the muscles of your back, developing both flexibility and tone. So as we sit here with our legs wide apart, pull your sitting muscles back so that you come onto the front edge of your sitting bones. Lean forward and spread your fingers apart, walking your hands forward, bringing your torso out in front of you or towards the floor. Move forward until you feel you've reached your edge, and then stop. From here, lower your chest and head, keeping your neck neutral. Don't let your legs splay inward. Your kneecap should face the ceiling. Press the thighs down into the floor, maintaining length through your spine and keeping your chest broad. After 5 breaths here, slowly work your way back up to sitting, then bring your legs together in front of you. Lower down onto your back, flat on your mat, in preparation for the first pose of the finishing sequence, dead bug pose or happy baby. Remembering happy baby from week 1, your knees are wide apart, thighs are aiming to be parallel to the ground here as your ankles stack over your knees and your palms are reaching the inside of your feet with your thumbs pointed down towards the ankles. Think about pressing your entire spine onto the mat here, from your neck to your tailbone. As you sit here in dead bug, I'll read about the next pose, supine twist. As a final pose, this twist rinses away any remaining tension, integrating everything that you've done by balancing and releasing you on every level. So from dead bug, straighten your legs, bring your right knee into the chest, keeping your left leg on the floor. Exhale and drop your right knee over to the outer left side of your body. So use your left hand as a guide to bring your right knee over to the left side. Open your right arm out like a wing or at a T and look over your right shoulder. Place your left hand on your right knee. On the inhalation, breathe in purifying air, and on the exhalation, breathe away any remaining tension. Close your eyes and just surrender to the deep rest. While you rest here, think about your alignment, creating one long line from the crown of your head to the sole of your extended foot, twisting to the point that feels good. Keep both your shoulders on the mat. After 5 breaths here, bring your right leg back to center and switch your legs, extending the right leg in front, keeping the left knee in towards your chest. Take one deep breath in, pulling your knee to your chest tightly. And as you exhale, use your right hand to guide your left knee over to the right side. Extend your left arm out to a T or a wing, keeping your right hand on your left knee. Looking over your left shoulder here. On the inhalation, breathing in the purifying air. On the exhalation, breathe away any remaining tension. Close your eyes if they're not already closed, and continue to surrender to deep rest. Slowly return back to center and hug both of your knees into your chest. Maybe rock side to side to massage those stabilizing muscles along your vertebrae. Take one more squeeze and inhale. And as you exhale, release both legs down to the floor. Here we'll be in Shavasana. Again, extending your legs all the way down the mat. Legs as wide as the mat if you wish. Toes splayed outwards. Palms are face up to receive. Soften your belly. Allow your eyes to sink deeply into your eye sockets. Relax the mind and let go of all control that you have on your breath, releasing any unnecessary tension in any part of your body. Take a moment to squeeze your shoulder blades together, opening up your chest and allowing your breath to take on a whole different style. Take a moment to move and wiggle out any little last-minute movements you need to make before I leave you here in silence for a little bit. Slowly begin to take deeper breaths. Wiggle your fingers and your toes to bring some subtle movement back into your body. Take a nice deep inhale as you reach both of your arms overhead, extending your fingertips away from your toes. And slowly roll onto your right side in a small ball or fetal position, using your right bicep as a pillow. Place your left hand on your heart and just sit here for a moment. From here, use the same hand to press your way up into a nice comfortable seat, staying internal with your eyes closed. Press your palms together, thumbs at your heart center in prayer hands. Drop your head towards your heart to acknowledge your work. Bring your chin back up. Place your hands at your third eye center with a space between your eyebrows. Invite the light to come to you and acknowledge the beautiful light that lives within yourself and everyone else. Namaste.